So across my three personal accounts, I finished Q2 2026 up roughly 2.6% after converting the futures account to SGD. But one account lost more than 26%, and around half of that loss came from two operational mistakes on one morning. I'm going to show you the actual numbers, where the profits came from, and what was the system versus what was my fault. I'm going through the headline numbers, the trades that mattered, and the differences between a bad outcome and a bad decision. By then, I'll show you what stays the same and what I need to fix. This is the same review I do for myself. The only difference is this time you're watching me do it. I started these accounts on 29th April, so this is really 2 months of results, not a full 3 months track record. The eMicro account lost 3.06%, around 1K. The daily entry account finished up 28.06%. There was a gain of SGD around 10.3K. For my futures account, I'm down 26.28%. And there was a loss of around USD 5.3K. Now, after converting the futures account at roughly 1.3, the three accounts together went from around SGD 96.2K to SGD 98.7K, roughly a positive 2.6%. Now, for rough context, the S&P 500 is up around 5.2% and the QQQ up around 11.8% over the same period. But the combined number hides almost everything useful. The daily account carried the quarter. The futures account did the opposite. And the decisions behind those results were mixed too. The three personal accounts results are the headline. These next two trades were taken on funded accounts, so they are separate example of the same system working during Q2 2026. And they are not included in the approximate 2.6% personal account result. The first trade I'm going to take you through is a short on GC. So my chart is inverted because I'm used to seeing the price action for the long side. This was taken on 28th of April. So over here, let's move to before the trade happened. So my context time frame is on the 1 hour. So we can see the trend line is going up and the price is slowly going up. So my trend has been established and we have this large pulse out of this consolidation over here and the MAs are trending up. So I move down to my validation time frame. So over here, we see a big push up higher and we retrace back down to the rising MAs. So when this happened, I went down to my entry time frame. My entry model is always the same, right? I see a huge push up over here and a flush to below the MAs, right? And I wait for a sell stop or buy stop to happen, which happened over here on this candle. So we flush down below MAs and we kind of reclaim the MAs. And I set a sell stop over here with my stop loss below this low and it just ripped through the highs. So I did not plan for this. I just follow my entry accordingly. So as you see, price move higher and higher. So there's no place for me to actually trail my stop loss. So I believe I closed half my position on this close below the MA, 50% partial over here. So once I close out 50% of my partial, I'll move on to the validation time frame, which my 5 minute to manage the trade. So over here, you can see I'm expecting price to do a high, high, low, high, 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 low over here to continue the trend as per our context time frame, right? So we have a pause over here. I believe I took a trade over here, which ended up in a loss. So similar trade idea. This should be a break even, I believe. So the context is trending upwards. And over here, we have a nice pause, a flush, right? Below the MAs, reclaim, and then sell stop over here. So I've shifted my stop loss to break even, I believe, on this candle itself and came down, take me out at break even. So for this entry, the second partial, it is to close the full position when price closed below the 20 MA. So price continues going and close my position over here. So this was taken on my funded account and I think it net me, the first partial was 4R and the second partial was 3R. So net RR is around 7R gain. Okay. Then next, let's take a look at the one of the silver trade that I took on all my accounts on the futures. Okay, so similar to the gold trade that we took, this was taken on 15 May 2026. And let's move to before the trade. So for this trade in particular, price is very one-sided over here. So basically this is another inverted trade also, right? Inverted chart. So price moved down, right? Created a consolidation over here and pushed higher above this consolidation. And what it did was lower, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And I'm expecting the price to continue higher. And the MAs are also changing direction. So this is the trend that I am willing to work with. And on my validation time frame, same as the previous trade, we see price doing a high high, high low, high high, high low. Over here, when price push higher and pauses on the rising MAs, I went down to look for my entry model. If you remember from my previous trade, I see a huge impulse, flush, right below the MAs, reclaim, and then buy or sell stop, the swing high or swing low. So in this case, I set a sell stop over here, and I get tapped in right here. And I waited. I believe I shift my stop loss to break even over here because we are building structure higher high, higher lows. So I'm not expecting price to come back to the entry anymore. I believe I waited for price to push higher, and at least I'm waiting for at least a 5R before my first partial. So price flew higher, and I think I closed around here, the first partial. If you can see this bullish candle actually closes below the MAs. So I had my first partial over there, 4.87. And the second partial, I let the price on the middle time frame on my validation time frame shows that it wants to do a reset. So I closed another half position over here, 3.83%. Right. So this is a quite a simple trade. It doesn't net me like 25 RR kind, right? So this net me around two two to three hours. These are the trades the system is built to catch. The setup was there and I took it. Then I let the trade run. But that doesn't mean that every single Q2 2026 losses was normal variance. Now the reason why I don't go through my losses is because my winners and losers are basically the same. Just that for losers, it can simply means price tap me in and it goes to a loss. So there's nothing more for me to explain, right? My trade management and how do I approach take profit. Now to go through two of my monster trade I took this quarter. First is Dell. Let's go over here. So you can see from my previous trade recap, I'm looking for things that are trending. Like Dell is moving higher, high, high, low, higher, high, high, low. So over here, I was waiting for a price. So this is pretty straightforward strategy for myself. So I'm waiting for price to retrace back to the MA. So I was waiting. I took an entry around here when I see a break above. So as long as there's a engulfing over here, this candle, right? This engulf, it should be a bullish engulfing candle, and I should be market executing. But I think on that day, price moved quite a bit before my entry order, right? So I held this, and on this day, price gap up heavily. So for this trade management, I don't go break even. So I let it run and run. So my first partial is actually waiting for price to hit at least 5R first. So I was waiting, and over here, I start to trail my stop loss behind the candle low. And over here, you can see this horizontal line. That is my stop loss. And the next day, it tapped me out. So I closed half of my position over here at 10.08R. Right. Then the remaining 50%, I let it run. And I'm using my context time frame, the weekly, to trail the stop. So right now, my stop loss is still at break even. I haven't trailed yet. So I actually held this through the earnings. So it went up. And if you can see, it reached a high of 29R. And right now, it's still hovering around 20R. So my plan will be on my context time frame. I'm waiting for at least the 5 or the 20, I mean the 10 or the 20 MAs, waiting for price to go below right? Then I'll start to trail my stop loss behind the lows. And hopefully with enough breathing space, hopefully the price will continue running. So this is the Dell trade. Marvel is similar. Over here, you can see price has broken through the accumulation over here strongly. So I want to get behind this long. So on my validation time frame, I'll wait for price push higher, high, 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 low, high, high. So over here, when price retraces back to the MAs, I was waiting for a bullish engulfing, as I mentioned in the Dell's trade. So these two are the same. On this candle, we have a confirmation because it closes above this bearish candle. So on the next day's opened, I think I opened this trade a bit later, so it should be in a perfect scenario. But I opened here and price almost come back to take me out, and the rest is history. Just follow the trend strongly. And over here, because my first partial is always at least 5R. So I was waiting over here. I trailed my stop loss because this is already 5.55. Then I further trailed my stop loss behind this low, which gets taken out on the next day during the earnings. So it's secured. The first partial closed at around 7R. And the second partial is the same as Dell, right? It went up to 30.26R. And the second partial I'm still holding. The second partial, it'll be the same as Dell, right? Waiting for price to come back, retrace below the 20 MA, and hopefully enough room for price to continue higher. So these are the two monster trades breakdown. Hope you have learned something from that. And not every losing trade is a mistake. If a setup was valid, the size was correct, and I followed the planned exit, it will be a loss I would take again. Nothing in the execution needs fixing. A bad outcome and a bad decision are not the same thing. And this brings me to my next point. So I was trying to go long using my personal futures account, and TradingView would not let me place an order at that point in time. So I was looking at this NQ trade. I opened Tradeovate, but it can't connect. So the fix was actually to use Ninja Trader instead, but I didn't know at the point in time. So I opened Tradeovate and I tried to trade using it. So it is a platform I did not use often. First, I entered NQ instead of MNQ, which is the mini contract. And by the time I noticed it, I was down probably $450, which is around 2R from my account size. So it's over here, I suppose. So I close it. And remember this, I had the sell stop over here or buy stop over here and the stop loss over here. I forgot to remove the stop loss and it was not an OCO order. So the stop triggered me without me realizing it. So when price retraces back down over here, that sell position was initiated, right? So it opened a counter trend that cost me another $2,000, which is around 11R. And if everything was executed correctly, actually this was a break-even trade. So when price moved higher over here, I see the strength. I would have shifted my stop loss to break even. So one morning cost me roughly US 2.7K. I entered this NQ instead of MNQ. They forgot to remove a sell stop that was not linked as an OCO order. This was not a normal system variance. It was my trading environment and my order handling. June also exposed another version of the same problem. So I took some daily entry longs, even though I'm expecting to retrace as the market was quite kind of overextended. So I pretty much gave back some of my profits and also unrealized profits by taking unnecessary longs. I also missed two futures trades while I was away from the desktop, even though the backtest assumes I take every valid setups. So I cannot put every rate trades into one bucket. A valid loss needs acceptance, a bad decision needs a fix. A losing streak does not automatically mean that the system stopped working. I first need to separate valid losses, missed trades, and execution mistakes. Only then can I compare the live results against the backtest. This quarter did not give me enough evidence to replace the underlying strategy, but it gave me plenty of evidence that my execution environment needs work. The strategy stays for now, no reactive indicator, no new rules because of one normal loss. Operationally, I need a proper backup process when TradingView fails. I need to check the contract before submitting the order, make sure every stop is linked correctly, and activate and verify the daily loss control on Tradeovate. For my daily entry account, I need to stop treating unrealized profits as a cushion for weaker trades. If I'm already expecting a market reset, I wait for it. And before I judge the live futures results against the backtest, I need to account for the valid trades I missed. The backtest assumes perfect participation. Live trading does not give me that automatically. So the strategy stays under review. The execution mistakes do not get excused as variance. When you review your own trades, do not put every loss in the same bucket. Ask two questions. Was the trade valid? And did you execute it correctly? If you want to run the same review on your last 30 trades, use the free trade journal below. It gives you one place to track your win rate, average winners, average losers, and break-even count. That is the plan for Q3 2026. Keep testing the strategy and fix the execution problems. I'll show you the numbers again next quarter.